Hey, Avni, welcome to the interview. Thank you so much for taking time to do this. How are you?
I'm nice.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's start with a quick introduction. Who is Avani Agarwal? What you do? Tell a bit about yourself.
So I'm basically a final year student at Thapar University, and I'm pursuing computer engineering. And I expect to complete my undergrad by June end. So right
Mhm.
now, our last semester is an internship semester. So I'm interning with Ernst and Young. Due to COVID, it's a virtual internship.
Well, your last semester is internship semester, so does that mean you don't have any classes at school? Damn, that's cool. You don't have it
We
like
don't
that.
have any classes, but we need to like update. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah, no, no, go on, go on.
I could not hear you. What did you say? Yeah, so basically, the last semester's internship semester, but we still need to like give fortnightly updates on like the online portal to the faculty member assigned to us, and then in the end, like we give a presentation about what we learned during the semester, and that's about it.
Mhm. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so I guess the
Yeah.
people that are watching, they're really interested to know your journey from Thapar to UT Austin, which is pretty cool. Congratulations on
Yeah.
that. So yeah, let's
Thank you.
start with profile. If you can share your GPA, GRE, and TOEFL scores.
Yeah, so my GPA is 9.16 currently, and my GRE was 328. So the breakup was 159 verbal and 169 quant and 4 in AWA. And my TOEFL was 112. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's about it. That's like the scores which people generally ask.
Yeah, yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Those are really good scores. Okay, so can we talk a bit about the internships, the extracurricular, like all that good stuff?
Okay, so for internships, so every summer break of my college, I did an internship. So my first internship, as you know, just after completing my first year, was in 2018, and I interned at Hughes Stakes, and I basically worked on a blockchain project. So that was really cool for me. Like I learned a lot. My second internship was at Ernst and Young, and again, it was like AI ML related, image OCR project. And my third internship was a research internship at San Diego State University. I could not go there because of COVID, but so
Wow.
I had to do it virtually. But I'll say, like, my advice would be like, it's a great experience. So try to like get a research internship.
Yeah, yeah, I checked that out. The
Like, should
San
I
Diego
talk
State
about like what the
University.
research internship involved?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask you. Can you talk about one? How did you get that
Yeah.
opportunity, like the research internship at a foreign university, and like what do you do
So
there?
first of all, like, yes, sorry for interrupting. So, firstly, I was like contacting professors, like mailing them, and in my resume, I already had like two uh, two summer internships at Statistics and EY, and they were both. One was blockchain related, one was AI ML related. So, the professor I was targeting was someone who is using AI in a particular domain or field, or their work is like developing a new algorithm or coming up with a new concept or a novel algorithm, like I said earlier, in like AI and machine learning domain. I used so basically there were few soft contacts which again you develop through networking by doing internships, and they helped me a lot. And one of the key factors was also my professor at Thapar University who helped me get the research internship at San Diego State University. So these all factors together led to that. So I would suggest like if you have something in your profile, like you have some prior experience, industry experience or research experience, then it helps. Also, one another factor was I had a research paper already published, so I could show that to the professor. So I think that helps a lot to
Hmm.
get a research internship.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
next, I'm really interested to know why MS.
So I'm pursuing masters in computer science. It was like around second year, like towards like the end of my fourth semester, I decided that I want to pursue a master's because I realized like the domain of AI and machine learning is so vast. Like they say na, like your education is like a T. Like first you cover the topics, like it's like a breadth first traversal. You first cover the basics, and then you decide like this is the stream that you want to pursue, and you go in depth about it. So because of these two industry experiences I had, I knew that okay, this is my interest, and I need to dive further in to know more about it. And a master's was a good way to go for it. It again, not only just the stamp, but I'll say in US the education is more structured, and this is me coming from a tier 2 university, right? So
Mhm.
I felt it's like a structured education, and the professors are like really inclined towards research. In my university, that was not the case. We didn't have a research culture as such. So I thought that would be an interesting experience. Like just get to more exposure, and you get to dive in these things.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah.
and okay, what do we talk about now? Let's talk about the schools that you applied to. How many schools did you apply to?
So I'm very grateful. I had a very positive response. So I applied to UT Austin, Georgia Tech, Michigan, UCLA, UCST, UC Irvine, University of Southern California, and University of Massachusetts Amherst. So I applied to a lot of universities, and there was one major reason was as GRE was waived off, and a lot of people lost their jobs during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So like when I get my acceptance emails, like universities mention that okay, this was like record applications were submitted for fall 2021, and then you had universities like UCLA, which so basically for MS and CS, UCLA has a batch size of like 150, and they gave a lot of referrals to the international students. So it was tough. It was very competitive. So I applied to a lot of schools to be on the safer side.
Hmm. Yeah, the same. I applied to like
Yeah.
10 schools. um, okay, and
Yeah, just
yeah,
to be on the safer side.
so I was really interested to know how did you decide UT Austin out of all the other admits you had?
Um, so firstly, it's top 10 for MSCS. So
Hmm.
that really helped. And second will be the location. So because it's in Austin and a lot of industries moving to Austin. So what people don't understand is why industries moved from California to Austin was Texas is fiscally conservative, but another major reason was also university. University of Texas, Austin is known for its engineering program. It's known for its coursework. The coursework is so rigorous, it's tough, it's project oriented, and they have that image. That was the main reason that companies are moving to Austin. Also, there is this research experience as well as if you want to do an internship, if you want to get a job, Austin is the place to be because when companies hire for 2 to 3 months internship, they try to hire locally, especially the small businesses, the startups, unicorn startups. So that helps a lot. So I think so location wise, professors, and it has an amazing reputation. If somebody wants to go towards the fintech side, maybe they should go to Columbia, maybe they should go towards the New York side, colleges in New York. But if you want like core CS, I think so Austin is a great bet. You establish your CS credentials.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. That makes sense. That makes sense. UT Austin
Yeah,
is a great school and also you get a lot of opportunities. So yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Okay, now can you share like you must have seen a lot of other admits and rejects. So what's like the general profile of people that get into UT Austin? MSCS.
So first I'll tell. So I got a reject from Georgia Tech and University of Michigan Ann Arbor, and rest I got acceptances. So I think I can judge fairly. Like, so for Michigan, I'll say again it's a top 10 university, but you need to have a higher GPA. By higher GPA, I mean like 9.6, 9.7. And these all statistics I'm saying for CS. I'm only aware about CS,
Uh,
MS and CS. For rest, I'll say GRE scores matter, but to an extent. If you have work experience of 2 years, I don't think GRE will matter that much. But that being said, you have to have like 320, 325 plus score. Also, I'll say people who got in UT Austin had amazing research experience. Like my colleagues who get in, like I talked to the admins, so they had like research experience under a UT Austin professor themselves, and all of them are from a tier 2 university. Like I talked to four
Hmm.
people, and none of them are from an IIT, but they have an amazing GPA and they have amazing profiles. They have research internship experience and they have industry experience as well, like 1 year 2 year industry experience. And those who do not, who are like a final year student like me, they have still interned, for 2 to 3 months um, uh, during their summer break. And yeah, they have good projects to show and research papers. So, and the batch size is small, it's like 30 to 50. So I think it's competitive.
Hmm.
But anything like with dedication, like I think anyone can get in. Just need those scores. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Do you think that someone without like any research experience or any research papers published can get into these top MSCS schools
So
programs?
I'll say, so there are two type of universities, right? One is research oriented. You have MIT, CMU, Caltech. I didn't apply to them because they are very research oriented, and that was not my goal. So for research oriented, you need to show credentials, academic credentials. You need to show research experience because they are research based. If you go towards universities which have engineering programs which allow you to do masters without a thesis, you need not show research experience, but then you need to show some industry experience, or you need to have some projects or entrepreneurship experience in CS. You can't, like, to get in like MSCS, for
Yeah.
example UT Austin, Georgia Tech, you need to show that. And the is like very holistic. I know people who got in Georgia Tech and Michigan and got a reject from Purdue and Austin. I myself, like, I have not heard back from Purdue yet, so I'm thinking it's the reject. But I got in UT Austin, right? So it's a very holistic process, but research experience definitely helps. Definitely helps if you do not have any research experience. If your GPA is towards the lower side, 9, 8.58, then you need to establish those academic credentials for these top 10. And these are very hard to get in, but there are like amazing schools too which are not like in top 10 or top 20, like UCL Ryan. It's, I think so, top 40, top 30, but it's amazing, it's a good school. So just don't go by the ranking. Research on the school, research about the job prospects if you are inclined towards industry, research about the professors under whom you want to write a thesis. And even in CS there's like theory, machine learning, artificial intelligence, um, and like computer vision, like which is your area, which university is better for it. Go accordingly and research well. Regarding masters, the main thing is, uh, I don't know why don't people stress on it, is university shortlisting. You must evaluate your profile and you must give time to your college shortlisting. That is the most important thing. Before you
Hmm.
start writing a SOP or LOR, college shortlisting is very important. Like shortlist 20 colleges, and then as you move forward, you're ready with your entire application. Maybe you can shortlist like 15, 12, or 10 colleges, but the main thing is your university shortlisting.
Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot. In fact, I also focus on that. Like when during my like application process, I made a
Yeah,
spreadsheet. I wrote down top 50 programs in engineering management, and then I narrowed it down to 25, 20, 15, and then 10.
yeah,
And also, you said that
yeah,
don't just go by ranking, and I like that a lot, and I agree with it. You should really see how well, because a really high rank program does not essentially like
yeah,
it won't really fit well with you, right? And maybe a low rank
yeah,
program would really like meet the needs and the goals that you're looking for. So yeah, that was a really
yeah,
good suggestion.
yeah. uh, like I'll just explain. So I got in Colombia, and then after I was like finalist, okay, I'm going to Colombia, and like 2 weeks later I got UT Austin. So UT Austin is ranked higher, but Colombia is like Ivy League. So it's
Mhm.
like about, Ivy versus non-Ivy thing happens. And at that moment I considered, okay, do I want to go to fintech? Like, because New York is better. If you want to go in fintech, you have more hedge funds there, more companies that are hiring, for your research intern, for sorry, your summer internships. So maybe for fintech, Columbia is better, but for core CS, Austin is better. So ranking doesn't matter that much. Like even initially when I was applying, I was like, I really wanted to go to UC Irvine, and that's because they have that startup culture in that college. They have, I think so, 30 to 40 startups funded by the university on the side, and it's a very beautiful campus. Same goes for UCSD. It's like really near the beach. Research, like UCSD is like equivalent to UCLA. Like a lot of people will debate about these universities. So ranking, like it's like saying, oh, I went to rank 8, oh, I went to rank 12. Doesn't matter. US is not a ranking based country.
Mhm.
India is, but not US.
Totally.
In India, ranking matters a lot, but not in US. You get hundreds of opportunities. First of all, your career placement is almost off campus. Like tags will matter like 10%, I guess. In India, it's 90%, there it's 10% if you go off campus. The hiring is off campus. So that plays a great role. So I think so one should be happy, you should feel ki, okay, this is something that you can do. Don't aim for colleges where you feel ki you will not be comfortable with your coursework, that you will not be able to, juggle with career, with placement prep and the coursework, and still manage to pass, because it's a heavy investment. So ranking is like, okay, this is my profile, top 50 shortlisted, 20, like 25, 20, like you said. That's how you have to
Mhm.
go about it.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, now let's talk about yeah. So you said this the ranking in the Ivy versus non-Ivy, right? That's the dilemma that I was in when I
Yeah.
had to decide which
Yeah.
school to go to. But yeah, I think we'll talk
Sorry,
about that.
you got disconnected. I could not hear the word.
Can you hear me
Yeah, I
now?
could not hear you. Can you like say it again?
Yeah,
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 yeah, sure. So yeah, when I was shortlisting, not shortlisting, when I was deciding which school to go to, I also had this like really big
yeah,
confusion. Cornell is Ivy, this school is not Ivy, but I kind of like that
yeah,
better and stuff like that. But I guess that we'll talk about on the video for your channel, I guess. Yeah,
yeah. I'll
yeah.
say, I'll just say one line for, again, for CS, like core CS. IVs like don't really matter that much if you're not going
Mhm.
into fintech. This is like also then we can do a video for my channel.
Yeah, totally. And guys, check out the YouTube channel. The link will be in the description of
Yeah,
me starting a YouTube channel. And yeah, go show some love. And
yeah,
I know you'll make great content. Obviously, you're going to UT Austin. There'll be so much stuff to talk about. Um, but okay, now before we wind up the interview,
thank you.
let's talk about SOP, maybe the statement of purpose. That's this is a big question that a lot of people have. How do we write a good SOP?
Okay,
Because a lot of people say that the SOP
a lot
can
of
make or
people
break your
ask.
application.
SOP is 60% of your application. I'll sum it up.
Hmm.
Regarding SOP, I know a lot of people just Google and they try to like consume a lot of statement of purposes. Don't do that, I'll say, because people who get into MIT, Stanford, they're not uploading their SOPs on a public platform. It's so hard. Like a person who got into Georgia Tech or like in these top 10 universities to get even the first draft of their SOP. Regarding SOP, I'll say talk about impact. This is what I did in my SOP. My SOP was very tech. Again, this is all for MSCS. For other branches, it may vary. For I only know about MSCS. So for MSCS, you have to talk about impact. You have to talk about the technicality of your project because you're applying for masters, and the impact. So, for example, suppose a person writes, okay, so I am interested in user design, for example. I'm interested in user interface and user design, and this is what I did. Do not write that in your SOP. You can say, okay, like suppose someone has ADHD, or someone who has ADHD or dyslexia. So you can talk about from their perspective. Okay, so I know a lot of people, people suffer from ADHD and dyslexia, and I was thinking, okay, what about UI and UX experience for them? So then I did a research about it, like how can I make better, how can I ensure that they have a better user experience. And then you talk about, okay, so this was this problem I identified, I tried to solve it, this was the research I did, I started developing this project, and these were the difficulties I faced, and I'm still facing them. These were the difficulties I overcome them with by doing these side projects to understand them better. And now I want to pursue masters, I want to complete this project. You can say, okay, I completed this project, but these are few additional features I want to add. These were the, like, for example, language, like there is language ambiguity when you try to develop any multilingual tool. So how do you make it scalable? So talk about these things, talk about the, and then you can talk about impact. So usually as an undergrad, you're not able to estimate that if you have not done this as a part of a research experience or industry experience. So maybe you can write a research paper. Even if you can't write a research paper, you can say, okay, I deployed the system in my college, I used it, I asked a person and say, okay, okay, look, how's the experience? Or you can find out, how to measure the accuracy and everything, the basically the mathematical equations on website, and then you can say, okay, these were the, like, the scores. Like, not, don't get very technical,
Mhm.
be very technical in your resume, but in your SOP, talk about these things. Why did you do this? Why are you interested? So I think this is like a very interesting, it becomes very interesting that, like, personally it becomes interesting, like, you're talking about a problem that you had, like, you saw and then you try to solve it, and you use CS, you use these tools and technologies, like computer vision was used, this was used, human computer interaction, all these things. So it becomes very interesting. Stick to your branch. Like, I want to do AI and ML. I want my track to be artificial intelligence or machine learning. So I talked about those projects. Take it. And
Right.
one example I can give was, like, I was talking about a project that I was doing, and I talked about, okay, these was the difficulties and face. I realized, like, I talked about some database in there, and then I talked about, okay, then I did side database projects. So, two to three lines about that. And regarding SOP, always write a 2000 word SOP, and then you can edit it into 1200, 500 according to the university needs. But you, like, to all the people, I'll say, just have a Google Drive and have like different folders for different universities, and then few files for the long SOP, the short SOP, the
Yeah,
500
yeah.
word SOP. You will have to do that. And there's something also known as personal statement for few colleges, especially for the UCs, where you talk about your experience. So you can talk about if you were in a situation where you had an abundance of opportunities. You can talk about a situation where you were deprived of opportunities. So in my case, I try to draw a parallel, like, how there is, I'll not talk about my personal statement here. But basic gist is, you can talk about being a person of color in CS, so you can talk about bias data sets and AI. How does it affect your life? Because there are a lot of brown people who get misidentified because these data sets were created using Caucasian white men faces. So there are different things you can talk about in your SOP. Someone who did not have those privileges can talk about, okay, these were the opportunities that I had and I did this. And, or you can talk about, oh, yeah, I was in a very supportive environment. And that is why I was in a very supportive environment. My parents were, like, very supportive. Even like in my college, there was like ample opportunity. So I was able to explore and, really get to know what I'm interested in. So you can go in any direction in your personal statement, but keep it interesting, keep it real. That's the only tip. It should sound unique. When you read 100 SOPs, 200 SOPs, and then you write, it comes out to be very generic. And in CS,
True.
they can like make out. They get lakhs of applications every year for like all fees. They are at least getting, these top 10 universities are anyways getting 5,000, 6,000 applications for CS, and half of them will be Asians. So, like, try to be you in your SOP and a little bit technical. Yeah. And do not
Mhm.
just write your resume. I have seen people who just write their resume in longer paragraphs in their SOP. Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
You send your resume for that purpose. Don't do that.
Hmm. Yeah, you and I read a lot of SOPs. Like I reviewed a lot of SOPs of people that are on the same path, and they
Yeah.
basically, like, what they do is they list down, they repeat their resume on the SOP and just
Yeah.
add two, three more lines. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You've already put in your resume. Um,
Yeah, I like
yeah,
after my invits, few juniors contacted me, and this is the first thing I pointed out. I'm like, for CS, don't do this. Don't write your
right.
resume again. They have your resume. Like, what people mistake is, for universities, your resume is usually a 2 pages or 1.5 pages, because you have to write about your extracurriculars and publications and certifications and things like that. So it becomes like a 2 page resume. For jobs, you have like a 1 page resume usually in CS. And just like
Mhm.
this skill, I have these tools, these frameworks, these databases, and
Yep.
you're done with it. But in for masters, you have to elaborate. You have to talk about those projects. You have to talk about, again, for resume. Another tip would be like use words like designed, deployed, um, deployed with this. This was the accuracy. Like this was the result with like 95% accuracy, or this, or improve the performance by 11%. Like put those numbers, put your GitHub like either you can put your GitHub code, you can put in your research papers link. Like do these things which make your resume look very authentic, and it also helps during when you have to edit your resume for jobs. It again helps that. So put your time in resume, your LORs, and your SOP is like 80% of your application. Rest is literally your scores. And if you have work experience, then those things also matter
Mhm.
less. I think for Austin, I'll say GRE matters only to a certain extent. But again, there are people, I know someone with a 332 score who got in, and I was like, how did I get in? So yeah, it gets competitive because again we are international students. So this is again from a perspective from a international student. Maybe for US citizens it's a different volume
Mhm.
altogether.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing all these things.
Yeah,
Next question I had was how to build a strong profile, but I think we've covered that already.
yeah.
So yeah, awesome. Now finally, do you have any tips for future applicants, like something you felt that I should have done this differently or anything like that?
I would say be very organized. Be very organized. So a lot of people, what they do is they make it their SOP LOR and everything is completed by October or November end. When the time comes to apply and you are applying in 10 universities and the deadlines are approaching, it's everything just goes haywire. Be very organized during that time period. Keep on revising your SOP and LORs. Go through 10 iterations, 20, 30, 40 iterations, and it makes a lot of difference. Second tip will be devote a lot of time on your profile shortlisting. Third tip will be when preparing for GRE, only concentrate on GRE. Do not look up colleges, okay, with 325, I can apply here, with 330, I can apply here, with 315, I can only apply here. Don't do that. Only and only concentrate on your GRE preparation. And like 325 is very doable. You need like 2 to 3 months, like put in 1 or 2 hours daily. It's doable. Fourth, do not stress so much about applications. You'll get in. Fifth, have some safety schools. Always apply to some safety schools. The process is very holistic. You can have 335 on your resume. You can have great research internships, and you can still get a reject from MIT. So ensure that these are top 10 universities you're applying to. All the like people think, oh, I have a 325 plus in GRE and research experience, let me apply. No, all the other 5,000 applications look
Yeah.
exactly like you. So have some safety schools, and just just like anything is achievable with some hard work and dedication. So it's doable. Masters is doable. Like it's 10 times, if not 50 times easier than JE. So
Mhm.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, thank you so much for those tips. I bet they'll help a lot of people. And I guess that's it. That's all the questions I wanted to ask. And to the people that are watching, all the links
Yeah.
to Avni's social media, LinkedIn, and YouTube channel are in the description. If you want to connect with me and her, just reach out. We're helpful kids out here.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
if
it.
like anybody wants to know how to prepare for GRE and TOEFL, you can. So I'll put up a video on my channel. It will be my first video, so you guys can check out that link. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. And bye. We'll see you in the next video.